Hey everybody, welcome to another segment of Tony's show, and today I'm going to be kind of scattered because there's a lot of things going on. It's really hard to stay on top of everything. I mean, I went grocery shopping today, brought my exemption form, went in without any incident, walked in, went to the same place I had the problem with 2 Sundays ago or something. So I walk in, get my stuff, walk out. Well, while I was in the store, I noticed everybody was suffocating. Everybody. They're all asphyxiated. You could see it because the color of their faces were red. People that normally don't have, light complexion also had red in their face, which indicates that the heart is pumping harder in order to get the oxygen levels up throughout the body, including the brain. I kept thinking to myself, just take the frickin' mask off. You can't breathe. You can see they're having problems breathing. So then I go to get gas, because where I'm at here in Windsor, the store has a gas pump, so I go to get my gas so I can get everything done and get going. So I walk in, and I forgot my exemption form. I told the gal I had an exemption form. She said, okay, no problem. Anyway, we're talking. She says, where do you get one of those? I says, well, you can go online and get them from Galati's site or wherever. I can send you one. I said to her, do you have a health condition? She says, well, not a respiratory one. I says, it doesn't matter. I said, do you have a health condition? She said, yeah. I said, what do you got? She says, oh, I got to take medication for my brain. I said, then you shouldn't be wearing a mask. I said, anything that's going to increase the carbon dioxide into the brain and causing the brain to stress out more, you're not supposed to be, applying this. She didn't even know her rights as far as what she's exempt from. And I thought maybe I better talk about this a little bit because some of you, a lot of you, I've said this before, 9 out of 10 people in North America have some kind of health condition. And it seems to me, in the last 60 years, the medical field has not cured anything. Zero, nada, nothing. And I thought, okay, well, you're not curing anything. You're medicating people. And according to the doctor from Italy, anybody who's been taking these flu shots or vaccines has been constantly weakening their immune system so that whatever they release now out there can now hit you and hit you pretty hard. I don't take vaccines. I don't think I've taken the vaccine since I was a baby. So we only had like 6 or 7 shots when I was up and coming. So a lot of you have respiratory issues, asthma, emphysema, cystic fibrosis. You're not to wear a mask. If you're taking any medications whatsoever for high blood pressure or for heart, you're not supposed to wear a mask. Now some of you are going to say, well, they won't let me in the store if I don't wear a mask. Get an exemption form. Now, I don't know how it all works in the States, but in Canada, you have the right of exemption. Now, like I stated before, there are 3 exemptions that you can use: a health, religious, or if you're elderly and need help to put on a mask, you don't need to wear one. Now, Edmonton, in its infinite wisdom, this is another, highly sophisticated and intelligent city. I mean, they are about as dumb as a bag of rocks, the legislation there has now decided to shut down banning the exemptions because they're saying people are taking advantage of it. It's not that the people were taking advantage of it. This is how stupid these people are. I mean, they are so effing stupid. See, when you have 90% of the population sick, medicated, vaccinated, or being treated for something, then yes, there's going to be a lot of people going to wear a mask. The only reason more people not wearing masks are more people getting exemption forms. The only reason why people don't have more of these exemption forms is because not aware of them. Now, everyone keeps thinking of them, that mandates are laws. They are not. They are not laws. Now, the question I have to ask some of you from my era or our era of time, why are you complying? I get the fact that you could be afraid. There's no question that you're in fear. But when you have the right to exempt yourself from these ludicrous rules, back out of them. Look, these people are going to walk over a cliff. They're heading toward the abyss. Moloch or Baal are waiting for them to jump in. Don't go jumping in with these dumbasses. These are dumb asses. You couldn't get anything dumber. Don't be like the biblical references, my people perish for lack of wisdom or lack of knowledge. I said it another way, nothing this stupid is meant to live. I keep repeating that on these shows. And I'm saying this not because I'm mean-spirited, it's because it's a reality. Life here is not a piece of cake. It's a boot camp. And adversity makes us stronger if it doesn't kill us. So when we're looking at all the stuff that we've been through in our time, why are you complying or kissing their ass, basically, to wear something that's going to further cause you a detriment in your health? If you have an exemption form and you walk into a store and they reject you, don't go back. See, this is the problem. This is the big problem. People are so mesmerized, hypnotized with frequencies and nano in the brain and whatever. Foods that they're eating, the junk foods, the glyphosates, the atrazines, and all the other epigenetic materials they're putting into the food supply. I get it. Your brain ain't there. I also get the fact that by wearing the mask, you further disengage the brain and engage fear. And it can increase the fear factor by 40%. So this is why I'm saying to you, why are you wearing these masks? If you have mental conditions, using medications for your brain, you don't wear a mask. If you got an autoimmune disorder that's already compromised your system, you don't need to wear a mask. The lunatics that we have running the cities are all on Bill Gates' payroll. Bill Gates, Soros, or whoever. So when you're looking at the criteria and the narrative that's being put out there, I mean, if you're from, like I said, the same era I'm from, you should still have your brain intact. Don't be like everybody else and just follow the news. You know damn well that the television has never told us the truth ever. Ever has it ever told us the truth. The election's going on in the States. That's a show and pony. That's all that is. Your vote means nothing. Doesn't mean nothing here in Canada. You can pull all the levers you want. You can push all the buttons you like. You can stamp all the papers you like. They've already chosen who's going to be the Prime Minister, the President, the Congressman, the MP. They've already figured that out. You're just there for window dressing. That's it. You're only there for window dressing. They've given you this concept. Oh, you gotta vote. You gotta exercise your rights to vote. Well, if you're going to exercise your rights, why don't you exercise your rights and tell them to shove that mask up their ass? Seriously. Okay, I was watching something from the last show. I was talking about this, where in Alberta, they're talking about the schools and not having a hazmat anywhere around. Well, I walked out the store today. Same thing. I didn't see any hazmats. No containers for people to throw their masks or their latex gloves or whatever. I saw people, like I said, I saw this one Asian woman. The Asians crack me up. They really do. I have to laugh at them. They are so afraid. They're so afraid and so petrified. If you told them to stand upside on their head, they would do it. I mean, this is how ludicrous. This woman was wearing a blue mask and purple latex. I mean, are you kidding me? Then I'm walking down the aisle. 3 other Asians are there, and they're blocking everywhere. So as soon as I got a chance, I walked by them. As soon as I walked by them, the woman started walking away from the other 2 guys. See, now, for entertainment purposes, why don't you walk somewhere and take your mask off and start walking around? Watch what happens. He took his mask off. Oh, we're going to die. We're going to die. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Go into a crowded, food court. If you want to see the line empty out, just pull down your mask, take deep breaths, cough a little bit, watch them all get out of your way. The fear of the COVID will work for you. See, when you get a little older, you think of these things and kind of laugh a little bit, and you I can picture me doing that. Go somewhere, just pull off. I don't wear a mask, so it won't work for me. But if I ever go with somebody and they wear a mask, say, hey, let's get to the front of the line real quick. How are we going to get there? Pull off your mask. Start coughing a little bit. Watch them get out of the way. No, can I help you? Yes, I need. It's one of those, senior moments, I guess, where you. It's like Clint Eastwood in the picture I sent to people. Sits on the steps with a beer in his hand. He's looking at everybody with squinted eyes. He says, "Where do you put all that stupid?" Woohoo! So try to get this back down to a serious note again. Stand up for yourselves. Stand up for your rights. Stand up for look. It's bad enough they want to kill everybody. It's bad enough that they are forcing everybody to comply with these measures that don't work, that actually cause brain damage and other health issues, so they can further exasperate what's going on. Someone made a comment, an interesting comment. Since when has everybody died of COVID and nobody's died of anything else? You ever notice that? The death certificates that are out there, they basically are all writing COVID. Well, if everybody's dying of COVID and that's all everybody's dying from, what happened to the cancer people? What happened to people with bad and weakened hearts, or bad and weakened lungs, or bad and weakened spleen, or bad and weakened digestive system? What happened to that? What happened to people dying of rheumatoid arthritis, or diabetes, or liver malfunction? Fatty liver diseases. Whatever happened to people dying from brain issues? All of a sudden now, everything is COVID. Everybody's dying of COVID. Wow, this is fantastic. COVID has cured everything else but death. And if you die from COVID, you're free. Oh my gosh. Think about this. Those who are awake are already thinking in these terms. But when you seriously, if you listen to the show and you never heard it before, you're tuning it on. Why are you complying? I would really like to hear a super genuine reason why anybody would comply to this. Why? Why? There's no evidence of any nature that the coronavirus can kill you. See, COVID and coronavirus are two different things. There is no genetic biometric for COVID. None. Zero. Nada. So anybody's telling you that they're measuring a COVID on a PCR, they're full of shit. That's total bullshit. Now, what I just found out, someone sent me this chart on a PCR measuring that we all have the coronavirus metabolite marker inside of our bodies. Well, of course we would have a coronavirus metabolite, but it's not because we caught the corona boogeyman coming for you. Because we all had been exposed to corona. Myself, I mean, I think, a preteen in the 60s when the coronavirus came out, between 63 and 65. And like I say before, those of us from the 50s that went through that in the 60s, anybody that went through the 60s, would have the immunobodies inside of them that would, if the coronavirus should come out, would supposedly protect them. So they're checking this on the PCR. They're just checking something that we have all been exposed to. And all the PCR is doing is validating that fact. It's not even a legitimate testing device. I'm playing just the devil's advocate in this regard. I'm just stating that if the PCR is reading anything, it's reading the coronavirus, that would be accurate because we all have the biomarker inside. We all have, like I said, the immunobodies. So when we're looking at some of this stuff that they're saying, you got to stop and think a little bit. Well, yeah, when we were in the 60s, when the coronavirus popped up, nobody died. Same thing today, the coronavirus popped up. We have a 99 point, 999 chance of survival. Yay! Hurrah! Yippee! Woo! Like I said, there's a post there where it said that the coronavirus has already expired. It has already moved on. It reached the numbers long before they included these regulations and mandates to wear idiotic masks. This is the same thing. This is the same thing that the vaccine companies have been doing for decades. For decades. When you watch Vaccination: The Hidden Truth, you'll see that the doctor and researcher is saying that when pertussis came out, it started going down all by itself. It was starting to round out, if you will. And what happened was when they came with the vaccine, then all of a sudden the pertussis came back up again. Same thing with the measles and the mumps. As soon as they gave the vaccines, it was on its way down. It went back up with the vaccine. They purposely infected everybody with these shots. Wait till they run this gambit and all these companies come out with their version of the COVID-19 vaccine. Probably by that time we'll have 7G set up, so all you got to do is just have target practice with your DNA. Oh, there's that one, there's that one, there's that one. Hit a button, bing, 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 bing. Disengage you with the chip they're putting inside of you. Someone sent me a form today that or a site where 7 and 8G are already running. I told you that India had 7G. I don't know who has 8G, but maybe NASA. But the people are the antenna. It's easier to tag them and to bag them. Tag and bag. Tag and bag. China, they just tagged them, didn't have a bag for them. So they had to go out in the streets and into the buildings and into the cars and get people out. Because that was a DNA or mitochondrial assault on these Asian people that had gotten vaccinated. Once they'd gotten vaccinated, the 6G, all it did then was just targeted their DNA through the implants, and it took them out. That's what killed them. This thing about the fish and the bats and then something in the market, I mean, what a load of bunk. What a load of bunk. Like I said, you really got to pay attention to these details because, like I said, if you're elderly and you go get your exemption form online, When you go to any store, all you got to do is hold out the exemption form and you're good to go. And if they refuse you, then litigate. Start litigating. Because this is the only way this is going to change. This is going to just keep on getting worse and worse and worse until we all pitch in and our share of this battle. Because if we're not going to fight, we're going to be Australia. Australia, they can't even walk down the street for 5 kilometers to go grocery shopping. They're literally starving those people to death. They're literally causing adversarial effects on their general well-being. Psychological effects, the whole 9 yards. And the police are laughing on it. And the police, there's a thing there about the police. They're the ones that are making the fines up in Australia. They have lost their rule of law over there as well. That's corruption worse than Mexico when it comes to the police. It's insanity. Total insanity. Now, Australia, the ministers, the MPs in Australia, have ordained for themselves now to be able to come and take away your children. Imagine that. We're going to come take your kids away from you under the special act that they've got down there. I've been saying for a while, do not send your kids to school. Keep them homeschooled. Sending them to school, you run the risk of them being collected for a pedophile sale. A lot of school teachers that are in the school system today, a lot of them are pedophile. And they go on a hunt. They go on a hunt. I mean, you got to remember, students are the easiest ones to mislead and deceive. If a school teacher goes up to a child and talks to this child in such a way, it's a seduction, sort of like how cults seduce people to join their membership, then you got a sheep in wolf's clothing in that situation, and you don't know really who's who and what's what. And if they are into any kind of pedophile activity, they'll either sell your kid or use them themselves. This is the reality. And now the Australian government is going to take away their kids at a whim. You know what? They are asking for an ass kicking. If all the people of Australia got together and marched down to their capital to get that bullshit removed, they'd have diarrhea for a week. That's how bad you'd scare them. You know. The thing about Australia, you should have never given up your guns. Never. You should have said you buried them, threw them in the ocean, something, but had them around and on hand. So if this situation would never have occurred at this rate or this speed if everybody was armed in Australia. And I'm saying the same thing in Canada. Get a gun. Get a gun. Be armed. Be prepared to defend yourself. Don't be surprised who may come through your door in the name of law and order. Antifa might come to visit. Oh, Antifa went home in a box. All 6 of them are being sent home. We'll miss them. This is the reality we're in. This is the total reality we're in. You know, can't rely on the government. The government is now doing whatever it wants to do, passing laws as they see fit, basically stacking the deck against everybody. So it's that's a real concern. Like I said, I don't want us winding up like Australia. You know, Australia. I mean, seriously, the government's now saying we can come and take away your children. For what? For what? That's something that should be amended. Also got in here something about rebooting life and carbon nanotubes, toxic effects. I'll give you a breakdown of the overall toxicity of the carbon nanotubes, how it can damage the blood, how it can damage different organs. It's important that you understand that everything on the planet has become adversarial toward us. Everything. Your comfort, your discomfort, your jobs, the things in your house, all these things are being controlled by artificial intelligence in some form or fashion, even the way you're thinking, based on what you're researching and looking on the computer. We are in this kind of quagmire where we are interfacing and interacting with machines on levels that we never thought was conceivable. As we go on, I did put a PDF up, and it's an interesting PDF. I put illustrations on there that I've gotten from people I get people from all over the world that send me things, and I found somebody sent me a bunch of them. All these were sent to me from somebody about a COVID idiot cult. How the whole COVID thing has a cult, and it is. This is an MK Ultra program being played out on the whole continental North American, Canada, United States, and Mexico. It's also being played out in Europe. It's also being played out all over the world. And when you read it, it's kind of entertaining. Gotta tell you, it has an entertainment factor to it. Let me see if I can get it for you real quick. Again, I put these things up primarily for those who are awake, and even if you're not awake, and for those so that if you're trying to show things to people. Now I have something for you here. Believers of the mainstream narrative possess all the hallmark characteristics of a religious cult: blind belief, no first-hand knowledge, no skepticism of official and experts. No believers and non-believers must be ashamed or punished because you refuse to comply. This is so true. And this is what's going on right now. Like I said, I was at the grocery store, but it had a mask on. I mean, it's crazy what they've done. Another one is, this virus is so deadly and contagious, why aren't there biohazard bins for masks and gloves? We don't have the manpower to pick them up, number one. Number two, they cost money. Number three, there is no COVID. People tell me, I had someone tell me, well, somebody just died. Yeah, died. We all die. We are all going to die. But we're not all going to die from COVID. In fact, it's probably the least thing that's going to kill you. You got a higher probability getting out of your car and getting hit by another car over dying from COVID. And if you did get hit by another car and you did die, the autopsy report will say died of COVID. It's like the one meme I saw where the lawyer says, yes, Your Honor, my client did shoot the person, but his death certificate said he died of COVID. Technically, it's telling you can get away with murder right now. It's a concept. Another one's on there. If you're ever having a bad day, the people who called you conspiracy theorists now look like this, and they got a woman driving. This is ridiculous. This is so freaking ridiculous. Not enough common sense. They got them now wearing them all the time. This is how brainwashed they've become. She's got a face guard, a face mask, and she's driving a car. It should be against the law to drive a car with a face mask and anything covering the nose and mouth. Unreal. They're basically putting their lives in their hands. Anyway, these are memes that you can use, make displays, share them with everybody. Hopefully somebody that you don't know, so that hopefully they'll wake up and realize, maybe I better look at this. Just maybe They might be saying something that might ring a bell, or they might say, "Oh, you're just a conspiracy theorist." No, you are. You believe this, hand over fist. You never questioned the authorities. You never questioned the experts. You've never been exposed to anything like this before, so you're blindly following the blind. And if I don't wear this mask, you're going to be up one side, me down the other, but I'm still not going to wear the bloody thing. This is the reality we're dealing with. So share this kind of stuff all the time. Someone asked me this earlier about sharing something. I said, yes, go ahead, share it. Put it out there. This is actually going on. Things of this nature. There's somebody in Alberta, in Edmonton, is suing the government of Edmonton for $550+ million for the over this mask thing and for what's going on. I want to see how that goes. He said they don't rescind the order within 10 days. They were going to sue them for $550 million. And you know what I think? I think everybody across Canada, especially across Canada, because I live in Canada, but across the planet, should all get together and sue their respective governments for shutting down the world over nothing. Treason, crimes against humanity, insubordination, misuse of power, list goes on and on. And I think this should really happen. I think everybody should be suing the governments, because the government is nothing but a whore. Some of you may not like the language, but that's all any government is a whore. A high-paid whore. You give them the money, they'll give you the honey. Prostitution. That's what governments are. Governments make and break deals behind everybody's back, without anybody's knowing, and then they get a think tank to get everybody to be swayed to decide they want you to be on, because they made a corrupt bargain with somebody. This is reality. This is total reality. So why would you listen to anybody without questioning what they're saying? The government of Canada is the second most corrupt government in the world, period. India number 1, Canada number 2, Venezuela number 3, China and the States have got to be there by now at the 4th and 5th spot. All the bullshit America has been pulling and China's been pulling, it's incredible. Incredible. So like I said, we need to be on our guard. Alright, tonight's going to be a short show. Number 1, I'm tired. Number 2, I got to get going and doing other things. And I got the pods with the links. Sorry about the other link. I tried to find the story about Australia being hooped and screwed. But apparently it took it off before I could go back and make the correction. So hopefully these links are all working and where they're supposed to be. Now on my site you got Sherry 3 Hearts, you got Brian 396, you got Yanni, you got Shy, you got myself. All these activists are telling you stuff about what you need to beat the system or get well or to stay strong or to be even fortified. Got a minister down there in the U.S. who's telling you about finding Christ and getting saved. So you got, and she's, like I said, she's on all this stuff that I talk about. So check them out. Donate if you can. If you can't, don't worry about it. Share their information. That would be the best thing you could do. And I always, again, at the end of these shows, I always encourage you to go read your Gospels, go read the Gospels, go read the Gospels. Go read what Jesus had to say, follow it to the best of your ability if you decide to accept them. If you don't, that's your call as well. You're on your way. But at least read the Gospels. If you've never read anything biblically before, start with the Gospels. You might be surprised at the insight you might get. Alrighty, and on that note, we are still here by the grace of God. Alright. To the next segment, to your health.